It is a powerful thought. One man's words could shake an entire empire. Jose Rizal's words did just that. They echoed across oceans. They challenged a powerful colonial force. His pen became a symbol of courage. It was a weapon mightier than any sword. He showed that ideas, when bravely expressed, hold immense power. Rizal proved that a single voice armed with truth and conviction could indeed inspire a nation and unsettle the foundations of an oppressive regime, setting in motion waves of change. Jose Rizal was born on June 19, 1861. His birthplace was Calamba, Laguna in the Philippines. Even as a young boy, he showed extraordinary intelligence. People called him a child prodigy. He learned the alphabet at the age of 3. He was writing poems by the age of 8. His early education was nurtured by his mother, Teodora Alonzo. She was his first teacher, a woman of learning and strong character. Rizal's thirst for knowledge was insatiable, driving him to excel in his studies from a very young age, foreshadowing the great intellectual heights he would later achieve. Rizal's academic journey was remarkable. He studied at the Ateneo Municipal de Manila. He consistently earned high honors there. Later, he went to the University of Santo Tomas. He then traveled to Spain to continue his medical studies. He studied at the Universidad Central de Madrid. He earned his licentiate in medicine, but his learning did not stop there. He was a true polymath, a person of wide-ranging knowledge and learning. He believed deeply in the power of education to uplift individuals and nations alike, a conviction that would define his life's work. Beyond medicine, Rizal possessed a dazzling array of talents. He was a gifted linguist. He was fluent in an astonishing 22 languages. This included Tagalog, Spanish, English, French, German, and Japanese. He was also a talented artist. He could sculpt, paint, and draw with skill. He was a poet, an essayist, and a novelist. His diverse abilities were not just for show. He used them all in service of his people and his country. His multifaceted genius allowed him to connect with different cultures and express his profound ideas in various compelling forms. Rizal's most potent weapons were his novels. He wrote Noli Me Tangere, which means Touch Me Not. This novel was published in 1887. It painted a vivid picture of Philippine society under Spanish rule. It exposed the greed and cruelty of many Spanish friars. It showed the injustices faced by Filipinos. The book was a brave act of defiance. It was a mirror held up to the face of the colony, reflecting uncomfortable truths the authorities preferred to keep hidden. The impact of Noli Me Tangere was immediate and profound, stirring the consciousness of his countrymen. The characters in Noli Me Tangere were relatable. Filipinos saw themselves and their experiences in its pages. Characters like Crisostomo Ibarra represented the educated Filipino. He desired reform and progress. Characters like Padre Damaso symbolized the corrupt and abusive elements within the colonial clergy. The novel's narrative was compelling and its social commentary sharp. It was not just a story, it was an awakening. It sparked conversations and debates across the islands. Rizal used fiction to tell a very real story of suffering and the urgent need for change, making complex issues accessible to a wider audience. 4 years later, in 1891, Rizal published his second novel. It was titled El Filibusterismo, meaning The Reign of Greed. This sequel was darker and more intense than the first. It showed a society teetering on the brink of revolution. The hope for peaceful reform, so central to Noli, seemed to dim. The protagonist, Simun, a disguised Crisostomo Ibarra, advocated for more radical means. This reflected Rizal's growing frustration with the Spanish unwillingness to listen to calls for justice. The novel questioned whether change could truly be achieved without resorting to more forceful actions. These novels were more than just literary works. They were acts of incredible bravery. Rizal knew the risks involved in writing such critical books. The Spanish authorities were powerful and unforgiving. His books were banned in the Philippines. Possessing them could lead to arrest and imprisonment. Yet copies were smuggled in and secretly circulated. They fanned the flames of Filipino nationalism. The words Rizal penned became whispers of rebellion, then shouts for freedom. He effectively diagnosed the sickness of his society, and his prescriptions, though controversial, were born from a deep love for his people. The Spanish authorities were deeply alarmed by Rizal's influence. His novels had stirred the hornet's nest. They saw him as a dangerous subversive. In 1892, shortly after his return to the Philippines, Rizal was arrested. He was accused of inciting rebellion through his writings. Without a proper trial, he was exiled. His destination was Dapitan, a remote town in Mindanao. It was a place far from the centers of power and influence. The colonizers hoped to silence him there, to make him irrelevant. They aimed to isolate him from his growing number of followers and supporters. But Rizal did not succumb to despair in Dapitan. Instead, he transformed his place of exile. He turned it into a hub of productivity and service. He used his medical skills to treat the local people. He offered his services free of charge to the poor. He became a beloved community doctor. He also established a school for young boys. He taught them academics, languages, and practical skills. He believed in holistic education, nurturing both mind and body. His students learned through direct experience and exploration of their natural surroundings, a progressive approach for his time. Rizal's ingenuity shone brightly in Dapitan. He designed and built a water system for the town. This provided clean water to the residents. He was an engineer and an architect. He also engaged in scientific research. He collected specimens of local flora and fauna. Some species he discovered were even named after him. He continued to write, corresponding with scholars across Europe. He showed that even in isolation, one could contribute meaningfully to society and knowledge. His resourcefulness turned a place of punishment into a model community, showcasing his practical genius. During his 4 years in Dapitan, from 1892 to 1896, Rizal lived a constructive life. He was a farmer, an inventor, and an artist. He sculpted, wrote poetry, and engaged in commerce. He even set up a cooperative to help local fishermen. He demonstrated that one person's dedication could bring about significant improvements. His time in Dapitan was not a period of idleness. It was a testament to his resilience and his unwavering commitment to serving his fellow Filipinos. He proved that true leadership involves action and a deep connection with the community, regardless of personal circumstances. In 1896, Rizal's exile in Dapitan ended. He had volunteered to serve as a doctor in Cuba, which was then ravaged by yellow fever and also a Spanish colony. The Spanish government granted his request. He believed this was an opportunity to leave the Philippines peacefully while still serving humanity. However, as he journeyed to Cuba, the Philippine Revolution, inspired in part by his writings, broke out. He was arrested en route near Barcelona, Spain. He was then shipped back to Manila. He was imprisoned in Fort Santiago, accused of being the revolution's mastermind. His trial was a sham. The charges were rebellion, sedition, and forming illegal associations. He was denied a fair hearing. His defense was courageous, but the verdict was predetermined. The colonial government needed a scapegoat. They needed to quell the growing uprising. Rizal, the intellectual leader, was their prime target. On December 30th, 1896, Jose Rizal was executed by a firing squad. He faced his death with calm courage at Bagumbayan Field, now known as Rizal Park. He was only 35 years old. His final moments were a testament to his unwavering principles. Rizal's execution did not crush the Filipino spirit. Instead, it ignited it further. His martyrdom became a powerful symbol. It fueled the fight for independence. Filipinos who once whispered his name in secret now shouted it in defiance. His death showed the ultimate cruelty of Spanish rule. It convinced many that peaceful reform was no longer possible. The revolution intensified, eventually leading to the end of Spanish colonization. His sacrifice became the seed from which a new nation would struggle to grow, a nation he had envisioned and written about. The legacy of Jose Rizal extends far beyond the Philippines. He is recognized globally as a champion of freedom and a man of extraordinary intellect. His ideas on education, critical thinking, and peaceful reform continue to resonate. He believed that education was the key to liberation. He urged his countrymen to develop their minds. He showed that the pen could indeed be mightier than the sword. Rizal's life and death remain an enduring inspiration. His message is timeless. True change begins with knowledge, courage, and an unwavering love for one's country and its people.